Season 2,
Hey,
Episode 1.
hi everybody.
Hey, I like to wave like that sometimes. I'm excited. Look,
Well,
we
we made it to season 2.
20 episodes.
That's pretty good. I'm proud of my our consistency.
Yeah,
Actually,
no, we've done pretty well. First season, 20 episodes in the bank. Um, 20 good quality episodes, might I say. They're not just you know, episodes for the kids. They're episodes for everybody.
yeah, yeah.
Are you writing a report right now? You doing a book report right now in the middle of the show?
I just
Sarah Plain and Tall was a book about a woman on the plains. my my print button doesn't work. I'm out
is
of
it
ink.
is it still Control Backspace Delete? Is that still it?
He said reset, please. Lord, have mercy. Oh man. Oh, control backspace delete. You saved me so many times. Welcome back
Welcome
to
back.
Life After 40. I am Omi D.
I am.
And hey, did you know that you can add a little subtitle down there at the bottom?
Well, I noticed you always got one, but
Hey,
listen up.
ladies. Hey,
Listen. All the single ladies.
hey, all of them. Hello, how you doing? So anyway, season 2, episode 1. Marriage, it ain't for the weak.
It ain't for the weak.
Look,
It is not for the weak.
I have never been married before, so this is going to be an interesting topic. So anyone out there, if you want, like say, if you're watching the show live, if you decide to watch the show later, feel free to post your best advice for marriage. Like if someone's about to get married, what would be the best advice that you would give them?
What would be the best advice that you would give them?
I'm that person that you might need to give that advice, and any questions for marriage, if you have leave those as well. Like,
Yeah.
we have some experts here on the show.
Well, I won't call. I don't want to say expert. We're not counselors, but
I didn't say they were here. I didn't say they were on the show.
oh my bad. I got to listen. See, okay, that's advice. That's advice.
Listen,
Mary, you need to learn how to listen.
listen to all the words. Like
Yes,
there's some
absolutely.
experts on the show.
If
They're
you're
not
gonna be
necessarily
married,
us.
you gotta learn how to listen.
Number one lesson in communication. Listen.
Yes,
Listen is
communication. Lord, speak on that. That's a whole topic right there.
Lord. So look, so we are. This is kind of like a 6-parter subject that we're going to do. We're
Okay.
going to cover marriage.
Yeah.
And
love
and
yes.
and divorce.
Oh,
and the state of the Black family.
Yes.
In America. That's going to be a good show.
I think so. A good series.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
I
it
am
being
too.
a trilogy, kind of like Star Wars. And we might even be able to get some special guests because there are people that we know that have been members of a Black family, and they could offer their input on to how this whole thing goes. But look, as I sip my vodka beverage, and we get in. I'm glad somebody is drinking tea today. I can't drink tea during the show. I don't have my normal energy that I have when I drink tea. But let's dive into this.
Okay.
Because we were kind of talking about this the other day, and we were talking about marriage, and I said, excuse me, everybody that I coughed in their ear. I'm going to I have all these great ideas about this wedding, right? Like, oh, we could do this at this wedding. This would be fun, and this, that, and the other.
At the wedding?
At the wedding.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And the first thing you told me was, I hope you find her, or something to that effect.
She doesn't exist.
That's what it was. She doesn't exist. So, I've never been married before.
Okay.
So there is some sense of just the dream wedding that I think this could be so fun. We could do it so cool. And honestly, that has evolved over time.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there because you're already talking two different subjects. A wedding and a marriage ain't the same thing.
It's true. I can agree to that.
And that's people in my listen. These are all my opinions. Let me say that up front.
Mm-hmm,
Nothing that I'm about to say is law.
mm-hmm,
I'm not an expert.
mm-hmm,
I just have I've been married.
mm-hmm,
I'm I am currently married. I know married folks,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm just giving my opinion.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
but that is a mistake that people make. We
Okay.
put we all do put more focus in the wedding than in the marriage.
Okay.
That
I,
is a big. That is a wedding is nothing but, and I'm not trying to downgrade it. I think if you have the means, I think if that kind of thing, but a wedding is nothing but a big party
mm-hmm.
that you get overcharged for because just you go from a regular cake to a wedding cake now, and so people enter a marriage in debt, which then already puts them behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
So speak on what that look, I guess I'll drop it back. Speaking on what you plan to do within your marriage, because the party, the wedding is just a party. So it's the same thing. You're gonna have food, you're gonna have cake, you're gonna have something to drink, somebody gonna dance. You may have a camel, your ass, you're liable to have I show up anything going on, but that's just the
Look,
party.
look. Do you know who Famous Amos is?
Mm-hmm.
The dude to be dancing at the yeah. I would like him to show up at my wedding reception.
Okay.
Like yeah, like jump out of a cake or something.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you got the money, he'll be there.
But see, that's the thing. It's the wedding is this party. It's
Yep.
this celebration
It's a
of
celebration.
a unity. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that need to be discussed before you make this decision to put this deal into play.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And that
before
it,
Famous Amos shows up.
it's a business merger.
It is. It is. You think about that. There's a lot of details. Like I don't necessarily keep my air conditioning at 69 degrees all the time during the year during the summer. So these are business details that we don't really talk about. Like
Well, but here's the thing. Some things are you really I feel marriage in part you can only get so prepared. A lot
mhm,
of it is on the job training,
mm,
but I would say the most and the best you could do is have your business in order
okay.
completely. That way, when the merger occurs, your books are in order, all the employees that you got are in order, all
Yeah.
that is in order. That's
Nobody's
the
in
best.
there.
That's the best you can kind of do because all the intricacies of day-to-day living with somebody, something's always gonna pop up. Not to
Mhm,
mention we're always constantly changing. So, those things I think are important, but I don't necessarily feel you're gonna ever be able to cover everything unless you're one of those people where you do the exact same thing every day. So those things you talk about and it's cute until you own the job. Then it's like, oh, like for real. It'd be moments where you look at your, oh, if this breathe like that one more time, I
mhm.
swear for God.
Look, and I've been in relationships and I've lived with people before, and I do understand that. Um, but before we jump into that, because
Okay.
that's the real, that's sort of the meat and potatoes of the first point.
Okay. Okay. Come on.
Let's talk about this dream wedding that I want.
Oh, okay.
Look, I ain't had one, so let me tell everybody what I think, how I want mine to go down.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
we don't have to be domestic. We can be international. If we're domestic and we want to do something simple, something very simple, like let's have a party style. We don't have to go to the church or whatever. Like a little party style. People can come in, hang out. I would like everybody to wear a funny T-shirt, like a T-shirt that just makes them happy. Just be
Okay.
comfortable, have fun. Because at
Okay.
my wedding, usually people end up dancing and having a good time. And who wants to sweat up a tuxedo? You know, and
Okay.
and so then we can have a reception, have a big party, do whatever, you know, with all kind of crazy introductions and stuff, just having a good time. And then there's the after reception. only certain people are involved and invited to that reception. Like some people's wives are not invited to that reception because they're not cool enough. Some people's husbands are not invited to that reception because they're not cool enough. Like
Okay.
you're not invited to that one. And so,
So you only invite one person out of the couple?
look, if they're not cool, they can't come.
Okay, well then now you see we tackling on that ain't how marriage go. If
No,
the
no, no,
wife,
no, no, no,
okay,
no, no, no.
okay, come on.
This ain't the marriage. This the wedding. You
I'm
said this
talking about
different.
you asking other married folks to divide themselves because one of the two ain't okay. That's not what I'm. Okay, come on.
You, she can come to the wedding. She can come to the reception.
Okay, but she can't come to the after party. I'm gonna tell you this. I went home. You're gonna be so tired
Mm-hmm.
from your wedding. All this is real cute, and you over 40.
Yeah,
Hello, your ass gonna go home and go to sleep. That's what the hell's gonna happen.
really.
Because it's gonna be a full day, even though you in t-shirts, you done sweat like you said at this wedding reception. You done have to take these pictures. You done have to sit mama down. You done had to cuss out cousin. You done had to do this and then do that. That's a whole okay. Your wedding start at 6. Let's say your wedding start at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Your bride and bridesmaids been getting ready since 12. You done had to show up at least 3. Your ass is tired. You gonna go home and go to sleep. I don't know. Now, maybe not. Maybe not. Now you don't have little ones, so I'm thinking about me. Don't even bother inviting me to the after party because I ain't coming. I'm tell you that right now. I'm going home or to the hotel if we're on island, and I'm taking my black ass to sleep. Okay?
Done.
So I'm tired thinking about it. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't even want a T-shirt. Just put
No,
mine
and
on the
and
way out.
in fact, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Depending on where your wedding is, I might not even show up. You know why?
Why?
Because I don't think people should have. I got married at my parents' house. Now, anybody that knows my parents know that that's okay. That's what it is. But it still was a
Mm-hmm.
home wedding, right?
Yeah.
I've been. I have spent more going to a wedding when it came to the airfare, hotel, the dress. I spent about half as much as on my own wedding,
Mm-hmm.
the cost of my own wedding, to go to somebody else's wedding who was not married for a whole year.
Agreed.
So I ain't spending that kind of money on somebody else. So it better be somewhere I ain't never been that I really want to go.
Okay.
Or I don't celebrate. I'm not getting invested to at least year 5.
So until I do the wedding.
And no, until the
Mm-hmm.
honeymoon has worn off and that 69 degrees you talking about every night, that y'all done came to terms on that, and that ain't making you, that the way she breathe ain't making you want to pop her eyes out because she no longer cooks the meal, or or she realized that she can't keep that up. The other episodes we talked about, you
Mm-hmm.
realize that superwoman thing don't really exist. All that, once y'all have all that is straightened out, now I can get invested because it's the long run. Because that's the other thing with marriage now. Folks get involved, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really realize what it entails. And it's so easy to get out of it now that it's like, you don't care that I done spent $2,500, $30, $5, $6, $7,000 to come to your wedding. You don't
Yeah.
care. You want out because she leave her shoes in the floor. So now you want it. I want it. 1, 2, 3 divorce. No, that's not how that shit works.
And I think that's why I'm not married. like at this point, like I've just never been really willing to some of those things that I know that I haven't been willing to do. I've been engaged twice.
Okay.
One time there was just some deception going on, and I didn't want to be part of that. The
Okay.
other time there became a distance thing, and I'm not if I'm not one to if someone doesn't want to move somewhere and it's a thing between you leaving your family and not leaving your family, I'm not willing to make you make that decision.
Well,
You
no,
know,
you can't.
yeah, and I don't want you to have to make that decision based on based on that. If you're comfortable there and that's your most comfortable place, then be there. I would rather you be comfortable than you get married and move somewhere and then you decide you're not happy and then we have to deal with that, for the, like you said, through the honeymoon period. So those are the two times that I've been close. But which this is going to be a great show because we have one person involved and another person who still has these dreamy eye visions of it. But how do you, now being in marriage, like how do you view it? Like,
Honestly, I think marriage is great. I really
okay.
do. I think that done correctly, and when two people can show up for themselves and for each other, and because as human beings, this I don't feel we're meant to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're pack animals, and that need to survival of the fittest, that need to continue legacy that's in us. So I think, and like you said, our series will cover, um, the Black family, generational wealth. I think to me, all of that comes from a healthy marriage, not a
Mm-hmm.
perfect. I didn't say a perfect marriage, but a healthy working marriage. So, like I said, I view it. I view it positively. I just think that us as humans, we get in the way of
I
it.
think I think that's a common thing about everything. I think we as humans we definitely get in the way of a lot of things.
Hmm. And people don't. Yeah, yeah. That may be another question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
another part. But yeah, so that yeah, I think it's beautiful if done in a working and ordered fashion.
I agree with you there, 100%. I think I view marriage. It's like I want to say something. I want to say it in the right way. So I think there's a friendship component to marriage.
Absolutely.
Um, I think there has to come a time where the two people really want to just kind of like do do the friend stuff. Like it's not about the marriage. It's about I really enjoy just going to the store and laughing and having fun with that person. And the two women that I have been engaged to, I can recall stories of just us going to Walmart, to do something and just, you know, literally having a laugh session in an aisle about something. Like one of them was just about pens. Like which pen was she going to use to write down people's order, this week at the restaurant. I was like this pen, and she's trying to convince me like this is the better pen. And so like I pick up a big pen, and she's like, "What are those?" And I'm just like, it was a funny moment then. But to me, those are the little moments that I look for when I'm like, I want to be with someone over the long haul. It's like it's not that you're a good person at this, it's you're a good person at that. It's when it's 12 o'clock and we want to go to the store and get something to eat, what's it like? Is it like we're taking a test? Or is it like I'm hanging out with the rest of my friends and having a good time and this is someone that I want to be like intimately involved with?
Yeah.
Um, so and I do understand there are the other pieces of marriage, like you said, about the breathing and that things. And I do think you do kind of have to take into consideration those things because those becomes a little, like I said, intricate details that you have to look at with a person. And I think sometimes with me, some of those intricate details have probably caused me not to pursue things with other people.
Hmm.
It's like I never really looked at it like, is that something I could live with, or is it just annoying me now because like I'm just not used to it in my present state. So no,
Well,
100%.
it's like it's probably a little of both, but it's those moments are great, and I think you definitely need to be friends with your partner because honestly, it's the foundation of the friendship, uh the valued commitment that
Hmm.
gets you through a lot. And I mean, sometimes years. First Lady Mrs. Obama said on an interview, she went almost a decade where she couldn't stand President Obama, and it's like, and people that are married or in, I'll say long-term relationships, but people that are, this is specifically on marriage, people that are married really can understand that because there are times where you don't like that person or you
Mhm.
don't, I mean, because they are around you and they can get at you, and the risk of that relationship holds different weight than any other relationship that you have. So everything about you and that person is magnified because they see you every day. They know who they know who you are. So um that risk is different, and it's not, then you have things where jobs, your job comes into play, and you're trying to you're trying to succeed, they're trying to succeed, then you throw kids in there, god forbid you throw illness of either one of you, illness of a close family member,
Mhm.
money problems, I mean, the list is, the list goes on and on. And it's like, are you committed, and can you and your marriage withstand that? And a lot of people, in my opinion, one will get on that. The idea of I'm in love, that's a fantasy, in my
Mhm.
opinion. That doesn't exist. So then when that fleeting feeling goes away, then what? That's
I
when
agree.
that's when the commitment and the fight and all that has to step in and hold until somehow you can get back to that. Because again, through those years, you're adjusting, they're adjusting. Have you calibrated with each other correctly to go back to the store and have those moments, finding new moments? It's a lot.
It's funny. I talked to somebody about it today. It was my cousin actually, and he was kind of saying the same thing, that marriage is a lot, and it's. I think anytime, and you're a parent, and we talked about this about kids, anytime that you're dealing with another person's personality, it's going to be a lot because you technically can't control that. Like you say,
No.
people grow. Something that I like today, I'm not going to like tomorrow. Some way that I feel today, I'm not going to feel tomorrow. And I kind of feel like part of being married is being prepared to grow together, and not just in the sense of, oh, we're just going to grow together because we're going to have kids and this is that and the other, but like, what do you do when she goes from a person who likes working out to a person who likes jet skis, you know? Or what do you do from when she goes from, or he goes from a person who goes out in clubs every night and decides that they want to stay home and be more family oriented, and you still want to, you know, go out and do that? Like, are you prepared to be with someone when they're ready to grow in their life? Because we don't, I feel like we all don't grow at the same time.
No, we don't.
But I think that's part of love, is knowing that that person is going to grow, and if you're committed to them and you love them, you'll understand what that is, that that's growth, and that's just a new chapter in their life, and you're fortunate enough to be part of it. um
Well, and that goes back to what I said. I think that's why it's important for you to have had that epiphany and that, and recognize that growth moment. Now I'm preaching, this is hindsight, right?
mhm.
Have really truly truly had a growth moment before you get married. That way you understand it in your own life by yourself. So
Yes.
then you know that, okay, I'm going to change and this person will continue to change. And and knowing, I read this book before, marriage maybe on the wedding day is 50-50. Other than that, marriage is not 50-50. It's just not. That's, sometimes both people are supposed to show up and give 100.
Hmm.
But sometimes that shit is 100-0. Sometimes it's 0-100. Sometimes, and just ebbing and flowing in those moments. That's how anybody that's been married 60 years done been through some shit.
Whew. Look, I say who.
Anybody that anybody been married 20 years done been through some shit.
um Look, look, if you want to send in your best advice for anyone who wants to get married, someone like me who's never been married and still has these, starry eyes of how marriage is going to be, send those in. Like I say, we're live now, but if you don't catch us live, send them in anyway. And, this is part of a multi-series set
Yeah.
about love and divorce and the state of the black family. So send those in. We'll address those in the next show. And if you have questions for marriage, like I said, send those in as well. There are a couple of experts on the show. They didn't show up today, but we'll
Yeah, we'll get it to them.
we'll get it to them, and
Yeah.
we'll offer our best advice, going forward. So if you have any, feel free to reach out on the comment section. Just because people are there, I'm a hey and post a comment, and then people will see it and they'll be like, "Oh my God, that's how I'll be on the show." It's like, yeah, you just can't win tickets
Yeah.
to the Starplex. We
We,
have we have no tickets to the Mega Fest,
yeah.
nothing like that. Um, so look, we've talked about um, what you view marriage as, and you come with some hindsight. I've talked about what I view marriage as me as a starry-eyed noob who's never been involved in it. Why, pray tell, why would someone want to be married from your point of
That's a
view?
personal opinion. I'm not one that believes people have to be married.
Okay,
In fact, what does who said it? Was it John that
the Baptist.
it's better to not be married because you're able to focus on God if we take it to a spiritual level. You're able to focus on God more because when you're in a marriage, you can't it's very hard to just focus on you. Y'all people you become one.
Hmm.
So that means, in my opinion, that any decision I make, any, that person is constantly in your thought process. Or I feel they should be. Because your decisions and what you say, how you handle yourself at work, none of the consequences of your actions just are on you.
Okay.
So and so to me sometimes that goes to marriage, but you're also one, but you're also, like you said, still separate people. So
Hmm.
how do you balance that? That's takes work to do. I believe marriage in that sense too, and a lot of people, marriage is a death of a kind of death of your own ego. Because again, sometimes, okay, if I had a hard day and I come into and I just want to come home. I don't want to do this. Da 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 da. Okay, but then I get in, and my husband, I notice that his his day is really wearing on him per se. So is this my time to regurgitate everything? Sometimes you got to swallow your pride. You got to swallow what you're going through and care for the other person. And knowing when to do that, knowing when what you need, knowing, if that person is in a bad mood. We talked about depression. How does your mate have, handling all those kind of things? It's very intricate. It sounds real cute, so, and it is. So to answer your question, I don't think people have to get married. It's a personal choice. I think that if you know that you're a selfish person that's going to be selfish, marriage probably not for you. If you know that you are a type of person that um, needs a lot of space to yourself, I ain't saying you can't get married in any of these situations. I'm just saying I don't know how well it's gonna last.
Okay. How selfless do you need to be married?
A
Like,
1000%.
oh, that's a lot.
In my opinion, to have a successful longevity marriage, 1000%.
So there's none of me no more. Just I'm out the door.
No, but it's not. In my opinion, it's not a bad death, though. If that's what you want, if that's what you're really
Maybe because you're
striving
saying,
for,
yeah.
but you gotta know that you can't come into a marriage thinking your opinion and your feelings and your wants are the only ones that matter.
Oh
It's just
yeah,
not.
I
It's
agree.
just not fair. But I mean, that sounds reasonable. but it doesn't. Going back to this 69 degree, because you don't understand what it's gonna be like when she having hot sweats and this kind of thing, and she enraged and da da da. So it sounds like it's just a 69 degree situation, or 60. Let's say 68. Selfless, yes, without losing yourself. That is, I agree, Dre. I agree, and that
Sound like an
that can be
internet
the
song.
hard part because again with the marriage, so now you got a mate that you got to worry about, you got kids that you got to worry about, you got this job and these deadlines that you got to worry about, then you have all these other responsibilities. So then a lot of times you get into a zombie robotic way of doing things, and you it's so easy to lose. I think in anybody, like Dre said, not just women, but it's really easy to lose who you are, your joy, and what makes you happy in a marriage,
I agree.
particularly. And then we get on autopilot and we expect that it is one thing for you to adjust and grow, and you're going to have to evolve. But then, like you said, if you don't lose that attitude of um, you just can't be selfish. You have to constantly be working for y'all, because like you said, it's like a business. Don't show up to work after that merger. Don't show up with the books in order. You just did a merger for nothing. The whole business now is going under.
That's messed up. That's messed up. I mean, I don't want to tank the business,
You
you know, but I mean,
don't tank the business.
just so how
I don't know.
how are you? Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, so
No,
I got.
how what? How what?
I was and married people, please speak out. How do you become 100% selfless without losing yourself? Because I've heard that from a lot of people who've been married, they were just like, I was so selfless, I basically lost myself.
Yeah, I think it takes one communication. And that is not just, hey, how's your day? How was your day? Good. Mine was good too. Love you. Bye. No, it takes real communication. It takes an honesty with yourself and your partner to voice how you feel, what you need, um, what you don't need anymore. Because sometimes we tell, you know, if you tell, I always like tea. I don't know. I just said that. I always like tea. Okay. Well, in any human, I'm gonna keep giving you tea, giving you tea. Then all of a sudden, he bring you tea, and you done switch where you hate tea now, but you ain't said nothing to him. So
Mhm.
now he bringing you tea, thinking he doing it right, and sometimes he's doing it robotically because it's just easy to bring the tea. And now you over here pissed off because he don't know that I don't like tea no more. No, how would y'all, And that sounds funny, and it sounds minute, but those little things add up. And then we also use those same tactics in bigger situations, and now we have a whole shitstorm. So compatibility, and honestly, Dre, I didn't know that compatibility to me, that's tricky. That's a tricky one. But you gotta be, because like you said, I feel you go through stages, right? I can't remember who it was. This lady said, she was like in her said, who I see her face, but
Esther.
no, 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 no. I can't remember. I don't want to name a name because I may be wrong. But anyway, she says she feels like she's been five different women in her lifetime. She's like a 60. But you think about it. You've been at least two, huh? You're not the same person you were when you were a teenager, when we were at Xavier. I'm
True.
not the same woman I was in my 20s when I was 30, now that I'm 40. That's at least three. Well, four if I count but if we talking about women, I've been at least, this is my third woman that I'm on. So even when it comes to compatibility, I would ask Dre if he could come in. Give could he give us an example, Dre?
Yeah.
If you're out there, but the
Might take a
compatibility
second.
is, you have to be honest, because a lot of times when we date, we put our best face forward, right?
I don't.
And well, okay, a lot of people do. So
Yeah.
then it's like you said, I said, oh, look at Omi D. He liked Megatron, and then I'm thinking, yeah, I like Megatron. Okay, well, I'm trying to like Megatron because I want to like Omi D, and I like Megatron especially in the honeymoon stage, I really like Megatron because I like everything more, right? Until
Mm-hmm.
that 5 year, 7 year itch where it's like, if I hear one more damn Megatron situation, I don't even know why I said I hate Megatron, you know? So it's one of those things. Again, you have to be realistic. You have to, I know you mentioned, like you said, video games. You, I wouldn't have to be with somebody that definitely likes video games, but you couldn't be maybe with somebody who one hates video games or
Mm-hmm.
two, the sound of hitting those buttons drives them insane. Love it's gonna be real hard for love to overcome that. Little things like that. But example, I like to race go-karts. She doesn't have to like it, but encourages me to go do what I like. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me know. You want to dust it off.
Right. And because I believe too in a marriage, like going back to that, not losing yourself, I think that it is very important for couples to, I would say, have at least one uh, activity of sorts. I would say activity that you like to do together
Mm-hmm.
to keep you guys excited and going.
Yeah.
Um, and then going back to, even though you're one, having your maintaining yourself and your independence, you have to have, well, now trust comes into the play too, because um, you still want to be able to do the things that you like to do, even if your mate doesn't. So you need to trust that when I'm going go-karting with the boys or with the ladies, that's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
I can have that space and you can go do what you really like to do. And then we can meet up, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can't stop your life just to be with somebody else. There's a merger, there's a blending of the life together.
Yeah.
Phases to not using it. You
Keeping it phrase.
never, I can't. Yes, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree, Vita. Yeah, you always, that was a good, I had to learn that one. If a full disclosure. That was when I had to, those first two, I'm not an I canter, but the first two I definitely had to learn. And I realized that, in my mind, I didn't realize I was saying it, or how I was saying it was just to stamp the point.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't like every single time, but you say it to stamp the point. But when you constantly, your mate is not hearing necessarily that you're stamping the point. The mate is hearing and he's thinking, well, I know I just did that yesterday, or I know I did that for you. So then it becomes where it appears to be a keeping tally or keeping score, which is
Mm-hmm.
something you can't do in marriage either. So I totally agree. You always and the you never. I had to learn to, okay, well, I feel like sometimes you don't this, or I would like for you to do this more, or this, picking your words in that essence. But I definitely agree.
It is very important. And I can say even in a relationship, like that's one thing I hate someone, you always or you never do this. It's like never. I've
Never,
never done this. Like,
never.
did I not do it the last 2 days? Or like
That
what?
don't count.
Yeah, they don't count. Like you I can't say that I remember that you've never done it. Like, it's like, but it is very important for you to be cognizant of what you say and how you say it when you're in a relationship with someone,
Yeah, absolutely.
because it is, I was telling someone today, like, you might not fully believe what you might fully believe what you say, but is what you say a real representative of what you believe?
Mm,
You say, I don't like people, but is it you don't like people or you don't like a certain type of people?
right.
And if you keep saying you don't like people,
You're gonna believe it.
people around you will believe it.
And people, that's true. That's
And
true.
people who are around you will begin to act or react accordingly to what you said.
Absolutely. I
And
agree.
so
I agree.
it is very important
I agree.
for
And
you.
I, like you said, and I would say, another one I had to learn, watching your tone,
Mm,
how you talk to your mate, how
mm,
you talk to your your boss, people at work, um, anybody should not be the tone that you use to talk to the person that you say you love the most. It shouldn't be harsh. That stream flows both ways. That's my opinion.
No, you're right. I just want to make a face.
Okay. So watching your tone. But you know, honestly, all of these that point I learned um, in therapy. Really, that came about in it was reiterated within my therapy in that because again the tone and the you never those kind of went together for me because I need you to hear me. You never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to know that I'm heard. And I had to realize that I did not have to, unless you deaf, you heard me. Now, whether you understood, whether you understand, which my sister-in-law told me, uh, uh somebody I can't remember. It's not important whether or not you understand, but I know you heard me.
Yeah.
And so to know that I don't have to, my tone doesn't have to reflect that. And a lot of times people hear you better when it's served softer, and when the words that you pick hit home. It's not necessarily how loud those words are spoken.
Yeah. Let's see if we get this whole comment up there.
Oh, okay. I found that a lot of people don't know how to have a real conversation. True. Listen, then respond. I think before you talk. I learned years ago there is nothing like an understanding. I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah.
And
And
that's really good because there's actually a term, and I'm huge on this, and it's something that I had to learn for work, and it definitely helped me in communicating a lot. But it's called listening to understand versus listening to reply. And a lot of us probably see the listening to reply in meetings, and kind of like that in arguments. It's when you know the person stopped listening, but they just want to respond. Like
hmm
they'll interrupt you. Well, you got to understand. It's like you're not listening to understand. You heard something you wanted to reply to, and so you replied. You didn't let me finish my entire statement.
hmm
Which is another point that would sometimes then people go, well, you ain't listening to me, I ain't listening to you, so now we're just gonna talk real loud until one person uh,
bows out.
bows out, you know.
hmm
But how do we make that other person feel heard,
hmm
um, but still disagree? Um,
hmm
I think I'm pretty good at that when it comes to it. I've had ladies go, "You make me feel heard, but you also let me know that you don't agree with me." And it's like, okay, so I understand that you're saying that like you don't want to drink tea anymore every night. That's
hmm
understandable. Well, what do you want to drink with your every night, or if it's not an every night thing, what do you want to drink, and how what days do you want to drink that?
hmm
But you do usually like to drink tea every night, like you're like,
Yeah, don't make it like I made that up.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Let's be accountable here. Like
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
first 10 years, you drank
You
tea
drink
every
tea
night.
every night. Yeah,
Yeah,
you loved ambrosia,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You don't tell me I like ambrosia. Like,
Yeah,
but that's the whole thing.
yeah.
And I think it is huge. It's a huge communication point. Like Dre said, like you do have to sometimes, and you've seen it on the show today, where I'm like, but it's important. And to quote the Obamas again, President Obama, I believe it was in the press conference when they were asking him about capturing Osama bin Laden, and he would pause, and sometimes they would ask him questions, and he would, take a while to respond, and they were like, "Well, why does it take you so long to respond?" He goes, "I like to think about things before I say them."
hmm
Like it's important that I say the right things at the
hmm
right time to make them important, to
hmm
get people to understand it. You don't have to always yell in a relationship to be heard, like you
hmm
said. And I think that is the key. Like, I'm an Aries. I enjoy a good argument.
Yes, y'all do.
I enjoy a good fight. I do. Hey, you want to have an argument about something? I don't care. Pick a side. I'll take the other one, and we'll just have it out all night. I don't
Why
give a.
are y'all like that? But go ahead.
It's just in our nature. But the
Okay,
thing
it
about
is.
it is, we're not mad about it. We just like the whole competition of arguing
Yeah.
and it's not fussing, it's not arguing in the sense of like I hate you and I don't want to talk to you tomorrow. Like I completely can disagree with you all day long and be like, you want to go get some ice cream and go to bed tonight? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me. That's not really important. But I think, it is important for people to understand. This is what my dad taught me all the time. Like, we can disagree, but that doesn't mean I don't love you. Like number one, like, he was the one that taught me, like, he would fuss at me. And, Trey has been in my life most of my life. And he's been in my house when my dad comes in and just completely just trashes me in front of everybody, you know, and you feel like, half of a squirrel fart. And, as soon as everybody leaves, he's like, you want to go play basketball? Or you want to go get some ice cream? You want to go hang out? You're like, no, you just made me feel like crap in front of all my friends. But like, it was the point that he was trying to prove. And I think sometimes if you really love somebody and you've made a good decision with who you're with, and sometimes I think people are in marriages that they probably knew they shouldn't have been in that marriage in the first place. That's another topic for another marriage question. But I think if you're really with that person, you really trust them, and you really love them, like you're my best friend. If you told me like right now, like we've had discussions about things that I've said on the show, and I hope that I've improved upon those things that you said on the show. But like I know that you say things to me out of love because you care. But you know, I have to understand that it's because you want what's best for me. And
Hmm.
sometimes I can't see what's best for me. And if me that I trust someone that you are my friend and Dre's my friend and my other friends that y'all love me, that y'all aren't gonna tell me a bunch of bad stuff and I shouldn't take it
Hmm.
personally. Um okay, thank you, Spank. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like to talk. Thank you. Yeah. I don't like to argue. I just like to talk. So there you go.
There you go.
I'm
There
gonna
you
use that
go.
on my dating profile. I don't like to argue. I like to talk. So I think it's important. But I'm gonna push forward a little bit on the show. Like, and I know the answer to this question, but you
Oh
posed
Lord.
it right here.
Okay.
But when do you know that you're ready for marriage?
Um, I don't know, honestly. I think,
I know the answer.
okay, let's hear it.
So according to my research of
Okay.
dealing with a lot of people who have been married and a lot of older people, you never know that you're ready.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
You never know. You
you never
don't.
know. Just
No.
like when they say,
With children,
yeah, when you ready to have kids, you never
you
know.
never
Like
know. Yeah,
you
it's true.
cannot prepare for it. You cannot prepare enough for it.
It's
Like
true.
you can save up all the money, you can read all the books, and you never know you're ready. And everybody that I know that's been married and is still together now, they can say like, yeah, I didn't expect it. Like it just it came out the blue, and not the marriage, but so much as just the person,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I knew him for years and I never thought I'd marry him. And then one day, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
she came
Mhm.
over in the yellow dress and said,
Mhm.
skibbity doo shaboo. Like,
Okay.
you
Yes,
know,
give it a go.
and there it is,
There it
and
is.
there you go. Like, you don't know. You just can't explain it.
Well,
And
here's
go
I
ahead.
well, I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with Dre.
Okay.
I think that I think that you definitely know who you don't want to marry. But I don't know that you are but I don't know that you ever know because marriage is such a faith walked decision.
Hmm.
And that faith walk is whether or not you believe in God or not. You jumping off the cliff. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when you get those vows for better or worse. Everybody think for better is at this party that you planning with the camels and the famous Amos that's the
Hmm.
better. Or when we get rich and we make it, that's the better. That's cool. That's great. I pray it happens. But the worst, there's too many possibilities of what that could possibly be.
Yeah.
And I think that, and you see it enough in Eastern cultures where arranged marriages and how well they work,
Hmm.
the statistics on those, that I truly feel that if two people come into this open minded, open hearted, knowing that they have trauma and baggage and willing to work on it, That's really all you need. If in that commitment, because if you go into it understanding that it's gonna be work, assuming it's gonna be hard as hell to do, and both of y'all are strapped up and ready to go, that's all you need. Because the rest, you once you get out there and once you get in it, you don't know what's coming at you. You really don't. And so you can't possibly, it's like a test. It's hard to prepare for a test that you have to take that has 100 questions, and there's 18 different versions of this test. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all the scenarios of what, well, what, you go over things like, what if our kid, da da da. Okay, but what if one of y'all gets hit by a car and you can't do this, and then 2 day on the way to the hospital, a shark bite, like, I mean, but you know what I mean, like,
But it's the truth. Like you don't ever want to sit there and talk about those situations in
and
relationships.
you really can't. It's too many variables and too many um possibilities to discuss. You just have to have, it's like a game. You just have to be prepared enough to want to work. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. You Once you decide, hey coach, I'm ready to get in the game. I'm ready to work hard no matter what, no matter how dirty it is, no matter how ugly it is. I'm ready to work on you. I'm committed to me, to you, to us. Until when you know that, then you're ready. And really, the overall compatibility is finding another person who looks you in the eye and says that same shit and means it and shows up every day to do that. That's it.
Look, look, look. Okay, I have to kind of agree with this one. Based on old school values as a man, we know when we meet that woman that checks off all the boxes, we might not be ready, but we know she's the one. Look, I, I'm, and there's never, to me, the one, there's many the ones.
Okay,
Like
I can
there's,
agree to that. I
there's
agree to that.
never, this is a big ass planet.
It's
There's,
okay.
there's a whole lot of possible the ones.
Okay.
There might be one that's better than all the other ones, but there could be a lot of the ones.
Yeah.
And I've met women and I'm like, damn, ooh, she's everything. But I ain't ready for that. Like that, what she's ready for, because she's ready for something that's different. And the way that my lifestyle has progressed, a lot of people have been ready for, the husband that has this typical job and sits down and does this and blah 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 blah. Like I didn't start that way. That was not what I did straight out of college. Like it's been an entrepreneurial ride on the roller coaster of fun. And then we went and got a job. And so it's very different when you meet women and they find you to be a great mate and stuff like that. And their dream is to have the husband, the work husband that comes home and does the whole family jive, and you're still like, I'm a badass DJ. Like I'm not about to, cut this because you want me to get a 9 to 5 and stuff like that. So yeah, I've come across some really good women, and I've just had to pass because I know what I wanted to do in my life was not what she wanted to do in her life, and so I just had to just pass her by.
What if she wasn't the one?
But like I said, there could be a lot of the ones.
There are a lot of the ones, but I think a lot of times, I think most people are guilty of that. Something like that, that's not of the one because that's too big of a incompatibility situation.
But now I'm at this point in my life. Am I still a badass DJ? Of course. But I don't DJ anymore. Like I
Well, yeah, at this part of your life, but I'm talking about back then.
yeah.
Because my thing is, the one can't be somebody that comes with a red flag. Like,
Hmm.
that's not the one. Now, there are all types of flags, but coming with the red, like a hardcore, I can't come, I can't be the one if one of my hangups or one of our disagreements is, I hate your job or I hate your whole family. Like, that's never going to work out in the long run. It's just not, in my opinion. So, but those are type of things that, well, what? But I love for each other. Your love ain't shit, because it's gonna be a whole lot of days where that love, because love is an action. So it's gonna be a whole lot of days where you choose not to love that person, where you choose not to give actions of love to that person. That's another episode. That's another episode to come. So you can't hang your hat on I love for each other. You just can't. Now these are things I know now, now that I've been through in the thick of it. And and it's things that you hear when you ask for advice from people. And people say these things, but again, it's not until you own the job that you're like, oh, so that's what she meant. That's what he meant with that. Some of the advice is like, it's like being a kid. You training your kid, and I tell Arrington the same shit every day, and I can't get mad that I have to tell him every day, because the goal is that one day when he's old enough for it to really count, he'll remember it. It's the same thing with marriage advice. Sister one, sister two, sister three done told you the same shit. And you're like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. You don't really know till you in it. Then you're like, oh, that's what sister one, sister two, and sister three was talking about. Marriage can, for me, it's been like that.
So, what advice do you wish you knew before getting married?
I don't know if it's advice per se that I wish I knew, but I talk a lot to other married people, and we've said the same. I wish I had more. And again, I do understand why not, because that can be it's an intimate relationship and you don't want to reveal a whole lot. But I wish I had more real gutter answers of what happened and how did you get through it from real life people. You know what I mean? Not just it gets hard but you get through it, because again, our minds don't really go to mind what that means. So I really wish I had real life examples of what that meant. And but some advice that I did get that I carry on, one of the best was from Sister Day, who was my original minister's wife and now my minister's mother. But she said, be quick to forget and forgive. And we all know that you don't actually forget. But I would say in marriage, it's a different kind of, like, once you discuss it, you forget, you say, okay, I forgive you. You have to work you can't keep regurgitating that. You can't keep bringing that up in any way, really any form, because it's gonna, those small pieces will of resentment. If you say you've forgiven, or those small pieces they'll contaminate your marriage for the worse. Well, contamination is a worse, so that's a redundant. So it will contaminate the situation. So I would say be quick to forgive and forget.
Yeah. And
I miss that comment.
flags are poignant and should not be ignored.
No, flags are not. Yes, flags should not be ignored. I
Yes,
agree. Flags should not be ignored.
green or red, you should
Green
pay
or
attention.
red, and you gotta be realistic. I feel you gotta be realistic, and advice I would also give: throw out any preconceived notions. I'm a follower of God, except for the spiritual of what a marriage should be. Only those two people in that marriage can decide what that marriage looks like. I.e., you know, I know married people who don't live necessarily together. I know married people who, they break the gender rules of, who stays home and who does this. They break and you can't let society and what others will think of y'all's marriage family truly dictate how y'all are living.
Yeah, yeah. As the expert on the panel today on marriage, um, what is the best advice that you got before you got married? Because I can't answer this because I haven't been married yet.
Well, that's one I said, to be quick to forgive and forget.
Okay.
Keep communication. Yeah, those. Oh, look, we always mention love, but I feel respect for not only your partner but for yourself is equally, if not more important. I agree. I think love I think gets us caught up. I really do. I don't. Love is something again. Love is what we call to do to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes that different than the love? Again, it's an action. So love is great. You need it. I think in any healthy relationship, not just a sexual one as marriage, but I'm with you. You have to respect yourself, respect that person. Because I know one thing, I never want to be caught in the streets and that be reflected on my partner.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because now, like you said, it's just and I'll go back to say this kind of doubles on all our things. When you know who you are and what you want, and you have that respect for yourself, again, that's where that oneness comes in. I also then have respect for you because I have respect for myself, and you are me, I am you, we are one in this together. So I totally agree.
Word. So my empty Topo Chico bottle would signify that it's probably the time to close out the show. Like
Okay.
this, I was deeply involved in the show, and then it took a turn for me not having anything, me not having anything to say because I have not participated in this thing called marriage.
Well, hopefully you listening and you learn because I know that is on your agenda of sorts.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There was. Look, we'll just say it. I think we've mentioned it today. We've mentioned it on the show a couple times. In December, there was a wild claim made by a wild man that I was going to get married in November in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Um, Now it's May,
Okay. Time is a
and
ticking. And
time was a ticket.
I've been to Bahamas, but only on the cruise, so I'd be willing to go again.
There we go. Okay, so that's look. Hey, look. I always tell people I don't know how it's going to work, but slowly things start to fall in place. One thing just fell in place right there. So she said at the beginning of the show, "Look, I'm not traveling. I ain't going nowhere if I don't want to go there." Oh, okay. So the Bahamas. Okay,
Bahamas, okay. I like a little sunshine in the winter.
I do
I,
too.
I like a little warmth in the winter.
I do too. Look,
Yes.
look. Let's table this one right here. I think the deal breakers will be perfect to talk about when we go into our discussion of love or even divorce.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
because I think the deal breakers like they might
They
change.
break the deal.
Yeah, they break the deal,
They break the deal.
and sometimes you might need to talk about those deal breakers before you get in that
Well, you
situation.
definitely need to talk about them.
Yeah.
You definitely
Well,
need to talk
well,
about them.
hell, if you're in a situation where you got to talk about your deal breakers with somebody, I think it's a different situation. Because to me, and this is the end of that, and we'll get into that because I'm likely to talk about stuff. I don't argue a lot, but I just talk a lot. Um, I think if it's a deal breaker, having that conversation in marriage is probably a bad situation at that point. Because if you're already
No,
in a marriage, you
no,
think you
because
should be married and already and not have a deal like a deal breaker comes up in marriage.
well, yeah, I think the deal breaker conversation comes up before marriage, surely. But again, we're constantly evolving, new situations come up. Something that I might, through my upbringing, my perspective, whatever have you, I might not consider a new something come up being a deal breaker, and you do. So that's why the communication overshare in marriage. The healthiest marriage I feel has no secrets. I don't care what our culture and society tells us. The ideal marriage has no secrets,
I
and it
couldn't.
has when it comes to your day. I was in because that was something you're not gonna find out. I was in the elevator with. This is just me.
Mhm.
You're not gonna find out I was in the elevator with my ex from somebody else. Because somebody else, I don't know where their head is, how messy they are, how they trying to relate that. Again, now it's something, this a whole argument or situation. So I'm gonna tell you first. I
Yeah.
ran into such and such. We was in the elevator. This is just checking conversations, communicating, because I'm not gonna never let nobody else have that on me to run to you. Nobody gonna run and give a bone to my partner. That's just me.
You got the pulpit and and the congregation was let's pass the hat. And
Secrets versus lies in a marriage, I think they the same.
that shit, they the same in anything. Like it's just what it is. But look, I
But
cannot
we'll get
wait
to
to
that. Yeah, I
share
can't either. I
my
can't.
deal breakers. My deal breakers are great, and they're really awesome. And thank you all for paying attention
Thank you.
and
Thank
watching
you.
the show.
Thank you guys for being so interactive too. That
Yeah,
was great.
we
I
love
love it.
that. I like when
Yeah.
people talk to me and us, and we don't just have to talk to each other because we do this every day. So, but I'm gonna share one deal breaker, and then I'm gonna pop the
Oh
outro.
Lord.
Look, you cannot drive a minivan. That is out. The minivan, no.
They laid now. Don't judge me.
I don't. I
Cause
don't care
you
how
be
lit the minivan is.
hey, you be passing on a good thing coming through in that minivan tricked
But,
out.
but
Hey,
hey,
don't do it.
you better get a Tahoe, girl, because I'm not doing the minivan. Look,
Whatever.
we'll catch y'all next show.
See you in a minute. Bye.
Bye.